It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley, and this is Thursday. Gary, hi.
Hi, one of those days again where I don't know where to start. It's just so much.
That's the thing, is that we kind of don't start. We kind of just keep going. You know what I mean? It just rolls one day into the next.
It does, but it was just one of those days. It's like, okay, where do you want to go? I mean, what's the? I was just. You probably heard me. I was listening to some of the back and forth between the Senate yesterday and some of the judicial nominees, and it's just pure insanity. I mean, these people that they put up, just pure insanity. The one was the judge that put a transgender female in a female prison. This person had such a long history of sexual violence and sexual assault.
Right.
And I mean, it's just you just shake your head. You're just like, my God. I mean, these people are nuts. They're absolutely insane. And so that's when when all of a sudden I heard the music coming in, I was listening to the last bit of it, and I'm just like, geez. And we'll play some of that audio coming up here in just a little bit. But that was one of the things yesterday that just made me go, And then the new whistleblower testimony, the documents. Let me get the right one here. I'm looking at the Fed and inflation.
Oh my gosh!
From the minutes, we will get to that. Yeah. Nikki Haley, basically endorsing Trump, saying she's going to vote for Trump.
All coming together.
I will say this. She went on Twitter and just went point by point about Biden, and it's all true. What she wrote about Biden was
right.
Was true. I really didn't see yet. I'll have to check social media because I'm sure this drove the never Trumpers absolutely nuts.
Oh yeah. You were saying the pre-show meeting. You know, they've been asking for a few minutes. They've been asking, when is she going to come out and endorse Biden? And she comes out and says, "Nope, I'm voting for Trump."
But this is where the whistleblowers allege that John Kerry blocked the FBI. The Biden administration blocked the FBI from arresting Iranian agents on U.S. soil while they were trying to do the Iran deal. John Kerry prevented the United States Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation from arresting Iranian terrorists on American soil while negotiating the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iran nuclear deal, according to whistleblowers who provided information to Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson. Unclassified and legally protected whistleblower disclosures provided to our offices, this is a quote, show that while the Obama-Biden administration publicly committed to preventing Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons by raising the cost of Iran's defiance of the international community, then Secretary of State John Kerry actively interfered with the FBI executing arrest warrants on individuals in the United States for illegally supporting Iranian efforts, including financial efforts to develop weapons of mass destruction and its ballistic missile program. Grassley and Johnson wrote in a Tuesday letter to Secretary of State Antony Blinken. The records show that the Justice Department and the FBI leadership, to include then Attorney General Lynch and then FBI Director Comey, failed to take the necessary steps to stop what John Kerry was doing against law enforcement. The 2015 email exchange between two FBI agents included in the letter shows one saying to the other that the agency would have to wait until the Obama administration concluded its negotiations with Iran to arrest Iranian agents operating within the United States.
Yep.
This is the insanity of Democrats, the complete insanity of Democrats.
Yep.
Just complete insanity. There's no way you can justify any of that.
Well, no. I mean, this whole idea, though, I mean, like we said, this is not a grand conspiracy. It's a similar mindset, and that whole thing with the Iran deal. Remember, we were getting the calls, well, at least they're doing something. And the fact that we would not only hesitate, but we would go out of our way to make sure that terrorists on American soil are not, because we don't want to rock the boat with Iran, you know. I mean, think about that. Think about that insanity. What in the world? Tell me what you're trying to achieve. Tell me what you're trying to achieve. What is it you're trying to achieve? We're not begging for Iran's oil. We don't need Iran's oil. That's not a big fixer. That's not something where, okay, if we stop getting Iran's oil, if the world stops getting Iran's oil, then everything goes to hell. It's not anything like that. What are we trying to achieve?
And the only thing that I can think of, following what we see in the Biden administration, which ensures that Iran is well funded in order to make sure that their proxies, which are Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and others, have whatever they need in order to fight against United States interest and United States military sites and to go into Israel. They're pro-terrorist. I don't know how else to say it.
There's no other explanation.
Well, I'm looking for an argument for. I wish there was an argument out there, because I wish it wasn't true. I wish there was an argument where somebody could come up to me and say, all right, Gary, Eric, you guys are just over the top in your ridiculous rhetoric. Nobody in America is pro-terrorist.
Right.
Yeah, they are.
Right. They've demonstrated this time after time after time, and through their actions. And now with this new whistleblower situation, again, what Biden is doing now is nothing new. He's ramping up the aid, as we talked the other day. The aid is going to Hamas, as we said it would. Hamas controls Gaza. We put a port in so that we could hand, and you and I said it from the beginning, the moment they announced this, we said right then and there, this is delivering aid to Hamas directly, and that's exactly what's going on. And, of course, allowing Iran to play in the global oil game, and now tens of billions of dollars and going to fund the proxies for Iran. There's absolutely no telling right now what's being planned between Iran and all of its proxies, and then the terrorism superstate that is Afghanistan now after the botched exit, and there's really no way to dispute that either. There's no telling what they're planning. There's no telling what they have in store for the U.S., but you can bet they are planning it, and you can bet a number of them are already on American soil. And back when they were, during the Iran deal coming together, we're not going to arrest them. We're not going to do anything.
Well, you don't have to believe us. Believe the FBI director, Ray.
Yeah.
Who said the exact same thing with everything that, going on at the border. And it's this again, I know we all get there. We all get to the point where we're like, well, this is all insane. And then the next thing you say is, why aren't the American public 90-10 against what Biden is doing? Now, on the issues, you see 70%, for a lot of these different issues out there, but you still just shake your head. And again, we tell Republicans, if you market correctly, you can have power for a significant period of time, because what the Democrats believe, if you sell it correctly, what the Democrats believe is absolute insanity.
Yep.
Oh, we had mentioned Comey there, because Comey was that was in there that Comey, nobody attempted to stop this from happening. Comey making the rounds, was it 2 days ago?
Yeah.
I don't know if he was making the rounds yesterday. I didn't see. But 2 days ago, he was making the rounds talking about how Donald Trump is unacceptable. And we said, Comey is the perfect example of rot, of the stinking rot inside of federal agencies like the FBI. Comey helped destroy the image of the FBI.
Yep.
Completely. And I'll give you an example right here, because if you want a absolute pure example, which cannot be debated based on the timeline, This is April of 2018. All right. Comey is there it is. Comey breaks his silence in first interview. This is from CNN, but it was his interview with George Stephanopoulos on ABC. Now, this is April of 2018. By April of 2018, what do you mean? By January of 2017, as you remember with the meeting, Comey knew they had big problems with the dossier.
Right.
They knew it was BS.
Yep.
So this is over a year later. Here's Comey in his interview talking about Trump.
Honestly, never thought these words would come out of my mouth, but I don't know whether the current president of the United States was with prostitutes peeing on each other in Moscow in 2013. It's possible.
He knows that was a lie by then.
Oh, yeah.
He absolutely knew it was a lie.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about, the stinking rot inside the management of the FBI under James Comey.
Yep.
And then you know what the higher loyalty was? His book to himself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, self-serving completely.
Right. The higher loyalty was for his loyalty to the stinking rot that he created at the FBI.
Yeah, I mean, he expected, and we expected from any of the other agents at the top, Strzok and all the others that were there during that time, to have a higher loyalty to him, James Comey. That's what that was all about. This is all serving James Comey, and he gets fired, and he's going to run and tell his buddy so they can get a special counsel eventually assigned to something they knew was a lie.
Yep.
They knew where it was going.
Yeah. And the special counsel it was 11 months by the time Comey did this interview. And they knew when they put that together, they knew it was all bogus by May of 2017. Everybody knew it was bogus by that point.
Right.
And so there's Comey, 11 months after the special counsel, because the special counsel, I think, was May of 2017. This is April of 2018. And we know the meeting in the White House with Biden where they knew it was bogus.
Right.
They knew it was bogus, a long time, before that.
Yep.
And so that was as we said, the rot and stink in the FBI that was created by James Comey.
Yep. Just
lying about the director of the FBI, knowing that the dossier was complete garbage. Remember, the dossier was created by Hillary Clinton, was funded and created by Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
And the fact is, they knew it. Not only that, they knew it. They knew what she was trying to do back in July of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Because the intelligence agencies warned the FBI what was going on. By the way, we have long memories here. We don't live in the bubble of today. James Comey is hoping you live in the bubble of today so he can go out there and he can go after and say, oh, Trump is against, and Trump is a threat to democracy, and Trump is a threat to the FBI. Trump is a threat to the rotten stink inside the FBI that you helped create, James Comey. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because you didn't give a damn about enforcing the law. You used the FBI for political purposes, and you lied to the American public numerous times to the point where, don't they ever think that, by the way, if I lie here, that history and further information may show that I'm a liar, and now we know he was a liar.
It was, 12, 13 years ago when I said, it's as if they don't realize that the internet exists.
Yep.
By the way, with the current president, I believe there's a case to be made that he isn't aware that the internet exists with everything, with all the lies he's told. But Comey believes you're stupid. Look, there were plenty of people, you and I talk about it. There were plenty of people. In fact, I venture to say most people weren't keeping up with the details of the entire Russian hoax. You and I did it because of the nature of our work. And thanks to the work of other people who were looking into it, John Solomon was one of those, Sarah A. Carter, all of those, Andrew McCarthy, who ended up writing the book, Ball of Collusion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these, the list is long. Collusion Con, we were trying to get that together. Remember, that was one of the things we were trying to.
Yeah, I forgot about Collusion Con.
Yeah, Collusion Con. Because we said, look, we're going to have like an entire week of panels with all of these individuals, every one of them. Molly Hemingway, everybody would just have to, be there and demonstrate their work because of how involved it was, because it was a Clinton-esque plan. Man, you talk about sophistication. Let's funnel that money through our lawyers to Fusion GPS to a foreign agent to get a dossier filled with garbage that they came up with during a drunk fest, and then take that and the white paper, that whole white paper thing too. I mean, this was planned just like somebody who at one point was the Secretary of State, knew how to do it and move it through the proper channels and then tell the media, oh, look, they're looking into Donald Trump. That's how this whole thing went down.
866-90-RED-EYE.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. When it comes to truck maintenance, sometimes it's the little things that can cause the most trouble, like cabin air filters. When properly serviced, cabin air filters provide a barrier between pollutants and harmful particles outside and your HVAC system. If you don't pay attention to them, however, this small part can turn into big trouble in no time. Breathe easy when you know how often to get your filters replaced. Long-haul drivers should replace their cabin air filters every 50,000 miles, or according to the manufacturer's recommendations. If you operate in dusty environments, consider servicing your cabin air filters more often.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'm going to play this audio clip from Joe Biden, and many of you will say, well, I don't disagree with him here.
Look, when he's right, and we'll admit it.
Yes, here we go.
A campaign that's about negative attacks and the one about what we're for, because we cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. Excuse me, we can only reelect Donald Trump.
We cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. We can only reelect Donald Trump. I mean, he got it wrong 3 times.
At some point, he's just going to get so angry at himself, he's just going to scream the F word right in the mic. He's just
Now, I was laughing. You just said.
Yeah.
Somebody might have thought you said the word. You did not say the word.
No, who would? I said, ah!
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing close to.
I
almost said it.
In my headphones, it sounded like you start with the F, and then
no.
Then I was
with
talking, and
yeah.
I know it was like ah.
Yeah.
Okay, but
yeah, no. Listen closely. That's all we ask.
Well, I was talking. That's why in the middle of it, the middle of your scream.
Don't talk over me.
I won't talk over your screams. Don't interrupt while I'm interrupting.
Over me. Now station managers are wanting to scream the F word. Oh, my gosh. It is so insane right now. I was waiting for the message at the end of that last audio cut. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. By the way, that I believe that audio that we played is from 2020 from Biden. And I'm looking at the picture of it where he said, we can only reelect Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. It went viral yesterday. It was all over the place.
Yeah, people were.
But when you look at it, you can see. And one of the interesting things that you can do is go back and look at, for example, some of the debates. In 2019, 2020 with Biden and the rest. And he's a completely different. He had cognitive problems back then. But when you look at him now compared to back then, you can really see the difference. And even there, looking at that picture there, even though he didn't get it right, 3 times, I mean, he was starting to have cognitive problems back then. He is so much worse today.
Yeah.
When you look at him, just his physical appearance. And that's natural. I mean, that comes with age, but you also see the cognitive decline is a lot worse.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I want to play this here just because we got audio. We got a ton of audio here that we got to get rid of between now and tomorrow before we get out of here for Memorial Day weekend. But now everybody gets it. This is NBC's Peter Alexander. Did I slur that? This is NBC's Peter Alexander. Get me a beer out of the refrigerator.
They're gone.
Are they?
Yeah, I checked about a week ago. They've been gone for about a week.
Excuse me.
Which is interesting because most of the sales department has been out for about a week.
Okay. That hiccup was not really a hiccup. It was it was my sound effect that implying that I drank the beer.
All right.
But this is NBC's Peter Alexander about college loans. And she was hit a few times, Karine Jean-Pierre. And you can see you can see reporters are actually interrupting when she doesn't answer a question. But Peter Alexander lays it out. The mainstream media wasn't doing this 6 months ago.
Right.
And listen to this here because he covers all the points about transferring, people's loans. There is no cancellation of the loan. It's transferred to people who did not take out the loan. Yep. But here it is.
Just to put a fine point on it right now, for the 4.7 million Americans who have received this debt relief, the average, as you said at the start of this visit, was $35,000 their relief has been for. So I guess why don't those individuals who didn't receive $35,000 in debt cancellation deserve a $35,000 check from other Americans for what other...
Very quickly, from other Americans. You said debt cancellation from other Americans. But here we go.
It means they would want to use it.
You're talking about
those people who didn't go to college, so they're not getting debt relief, the $35,000 that they don't get because they didn't go.
We're talking about folks who are in debt who are literally being crushed. Literally being crushed because they took
literally being crushed.
Financially. Okay, is that okay with you? Okay, but I know, but crushed financially, and so they're trying to get their lives back on track.
That's not answering the question.
I love that he called her out on the whole literally thing. Yeah. Literally, she said it twice. Literally being crushed. Literally being crushed. Nope, they're not.
Goes, no, they're not literally being crushed. Okay, financially being crushed. That's coming from the White House Press Corp. I think, what they've seen? They sit there and they look at it, and the press is starting to realize this is actually a transfer of wealth from the poor to the elite.
Yeah, right. Once again.
To the people that are much more well off. That's what it is in order to buy the votes. And we've been saying this for the longest time. That's what he's attempting to do.
Yep.
And as we've said, you can't defend the morality of this. It's not moral what they're doing.
No, it isn't.
And we'll explain it this way. What Biden believes is that the people that benefit the most from a college education, they decided to take out a loan. They signed the contract. Everybody's being crushed right now Who isn't being crushed right now? By the way, that's a lie, because the debt relief goes to anybody irrespective of their ability to pay back their college loan. And so the morality of the left is the people that are going to make the most money if they sign a contract to take out a loan so they can get an education where they can actually make more money, that people who don't get the benefit of that loan are more morally responsible to pay off that loan than the people who actually took out that loan. I dare any Democrat to try to defend and say that that is a moral narrative. It isn't.
Nope. And this administration is doing it without the approval of Congress.
Yep.
They're doing it in spite of what the high court told them. And they're going to keep doing it. I don't know where the concerted effort is to stop this. And I heard yesterday again this idea that, well, the problem is by the time this whole thing gets to some kind of solution, some type of remedy, then the money's already going to be erased from the books, and it doesn't matter who you are. You'd be hard-pressed to put that back on somebody else's account. Nope. If you've got a problem with it going away and then the debt all of a sudden coming back, talk to Joe Biden. They didn't do this through the approval of Congress. Congress can decide to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason they can't get it done in Congress. There's a reason they won't do it in Congress. There's a reason Joe Biden is doing it, to buy votes.
Yep. It's a transfer from the poor to the rich. And
Yep.
think about this pattern here. And that's what, if Democrats wonder, why are we losing the working person?
Right, yeah.
Well, EVs, the EV subsidies. The poor and the middle class don't buy EVs.
Yeah. Remember the Inflation Reduction Act and all of the green initiatives there. Listen, if you just spend $200,000 in upgrading your home.
Right.
Are you kidding me? What is this, HGTV? Ron and Carol have a budget of $4 million. Ooh, I don't know if we're going to go with the cabinets or not. It's a little pricey. It's this entire charade in the face of the high court, in the face of the American people, over and over and over again, and they're not going to stop. This is going to continue to roll out between now and November 5th. They'll be doing more. This won't be the last batch of debt transfer on college loans. This is going to continue. They're not done. Not even close.
No. But it's not moral. Nope. No Democrat can make that case.
No.
You cannot. She can't make the case. Nope. And everybody understands what the question is now because they're asking it in the White House Press Corp. And the White House Press Corp is not conservative. And they understand it. Why do they get the bailout from other Americans?
Well, I'll use the lame excuse for the counter again. Well, why aren't you sending $35,000 checks to everybody? Everybody's being literally crushed.
Mike Rose said it. You got small business people that pay $40,000 for a pickup that they need in order to run their business. How come they don't get a bailout?
Right, and $40,000 on a pickup would be about a 15-year-old pickup.
Well, okay, 50,000, 60,000, whatever the number is. Sorry, I flashed back to 2019.
Right. You flashed back to a good economy. How dare you?
And so they can't defend it. No Democrat can defend this.
Yeah. No, there's no way.
And again, if you wonder why they're losing the working person, It's because their policies benefit the well-off,
Yep.
and the money transfer comes from the middle class and the poor.
Mm-hmm.
And so if everybody is confused,
Yep.
if everybody, well, we don't understand. Why is Biden losing support? Well, you're ignorant. You're willfully ignorant. You're not paying attention.
Well, they've not been completing the sentence on, those that have been out there that have been saying, we don't know why they don't see the good economy.
Well, that was again yesterday.
Yeah.
Again.
Well, what they're not saying is the economy's great for the elite that are getting handouts from this administration. Everything is great.
Yeah.
You just got an entire massive amount of student loans wiped off the books. They just write it off.
You don't even know what writing off means, do you? No, but they do.
But they do.
And that's why they write it off. And by the way, that's from Seinfeld.
Yeah. He's gonna be here in this area in July in concert.
So he's only going to do? He's only going to do venues in the South now. No,
right? Exactly. Yeah. It's but this is again. It's very clear what they're doing. The Supreme Court says, "Well, you can't do that." Okay, they do it. They do it again. They do it again. They do it again. And
brags about it.
Oh yeah. No, it was a big release yesterday morning. It's as it has been with each batch that's announced. They're not quietly doing this. They're proud of it. They're beating their chest on this one. And it's not, again, we do have a greater problem with the overall debt and lack of concern for the overall debt. But they're not winning this because working class people in America are looking at this going, are you kidding me? Because they're asking the same question now that the media is asking. This is why the media is asking it. Well, why aren't you, we can look at credit card debt at an all-time high. Why aren't you giving me $35,000 towards credit cards?
Yeah.
We're literally being crushed by our debt because of inflation that you caused.
Where's mine?
Where's mine? Where's mine?
I want mine.
Right.
Where's mine?
Right. If you want me to help pay for somebody else's college, great. Give me the money to do it.
All I want is what's coming to me. All I want is my fair share.
That's right. It's only fair. I'm literally being crushed.
By the way, from a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah. I know. I was actually hearing it.
All I want is what's coming to me. All I want is my fair share.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about this. Charles Schultz in this, because what was that, 65?
Yeah.
64?
Yeah.
He understood the pathology of dependency.
60 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's again, we've been saying the ideas don't change. The people come and go. The ideas don't change. But this approach is the defiant Joe Biden. Oh, we're going to do it anyway.
866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. We have new polls out. We saw Donald Trump agreeing to things in the debate that I find mind-boggling. You and I have always said you go into any situation in any campaign and you do it as if you're 20 points down.
Yep.
And for Trump to agree to have, because everything that he's proposing Biden saying no to.
Yep.
And Trump's agreeing to everything, including sitting down. That they'll sit down at a table, and Trump's like, well, I don't like agreeing to all this stuff, but I want to debate him. Well, you can debate him, but you can have reasonable. You could have made it a negotiation from the beginning. I have no idea why Trump is doing this.
Yeah,
because
I don't know.
I'm looking at here this back and forth. This is Alex Michelson and Katie Couric. Debates coming in June is an acknowledgement that Joe Biden and his campaign know that they're losing. They're aware that this narrative exists, that Joe Biden is old, weak, and out of control. Katie Couric says, right. Well, then why are you making it and giving him every accommodation that isn't what we had in other debates in the past? Why are you doing this? Right. Makes no sense.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, Earth, that is.
Mm-hmm.
He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, the White House isn't even denying that Biden has the ability to stop what's happening at the border.
Yeah, that's kind of gone away now.
Here's Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday basically asked the question, it's, where I think it was Jackie Heinrich from Fox News asked her the question that Biden can do it unilaterally, and that he took the executive actions that created the problem. And she agrees.
Yeah.
That's the mind-boggling thing. Here we go.
You opened the briefing by saying it's up to Republicans to do something to solve the problem or continue to use it as a political issue. The president has the authority to do something about this unilaterally. Congress is in a divided government right now. Why isn't he doing anything?
Well, why should he have to do it unilaterally? Why should we do it in a legislative way? And let's not forget that negotiated.
I know, but undo some of.
Wait, so you're right. He took many executive actions before.
Yeah, just amazing.
Why shouldn't there be? In fact, like with student loans, why do it unilaterally? Why can't we do that through Congress? Oh, wait, it doesn't. It only applies when we want it to apply. But no, you're right. I noticed that yesterday. The entire talk about, he doesn't have the power. No, they're acknowledging, no, he's done it before. He's just not going to do it now.
Exactly. I mean, it was amazing. It's like, nobody cares. We don't care anymore. We don't care anymore about the border.
Why unilaterally?
Look,
the president has done so much unilaterally. He's really exhausted.
Talking about the border is getting in the way of our Jew hating.
Yes. Why can't we just get back to being anti-Semites?
Right. Why can't we just get back to being pro-terrorist?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing. God. Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, why? Why are you asking tough questions? Why? Remember the days when you guys would ask, "Hey Joe, what kind of ice cream is that?" Remember that? Can we go back to that? Why? Why? We're literally being crushed by tough questions. It's the situation with the border. it's really now to the point of every major city's dealing with something that many of them either haven't talked about, they haven't dealt with it on this level. I mean, they have been dealing with things in the past, but they haven't, that they created, by the way, sanctuary city policy helped to create all of this. It was the idea that, no, just let them, let open the doors. Everybody gets in. And now they're in a situation where their constituents are screaming. What are they going to do to try and fix things in Chicago just on the immigration front? You know, Mayor Brandon Johnson is here's a guy who they were looking to move people out of the shelters, immigrants out of shelters in Chicago, and they said, okay, we're going to, put a deadline, a sunset. They're going to have to be out by February. And then everybody looked at him and said, that's February in Chicago? You're going to put people on the street in February? Oh, no, we didn't mean February. We meant March. And remember in El Paso, remember that one time that Biden came close to visiting the border? He wasn't actually on the border. He just kind of went close to the border. And in El Paso, they were talking about how they were having to clean everything up. Remember that time when Xi Jinping from China came to San Francisco? Remember that one time they cleaned the human feces off the sidewalk?
What is this, a Chris Farley bit?
Yeah. Remember that one time that they did all that? The fact of the matter is that you're not going to be able to, you can't clean the people in those cities and the local media in those cities. It doesn't matter what you do to clean up Chicago if they're going to clean it up like they tried in El Paso or like they tried in San Francisco. Everybody sees what's going on. The locals see what's going on. The media sees what's going on. It goes viral. And I'm just curious what they're going to try and attempt. That's just part of what they're going to be dealing with if they actually ever get to a convention at all in Chicago. It's,
I haven't heard much in the last couple of days about that.
No, it's what they say, a partly virtual convention. You're probably, I don't know what you do. Actually, don't ask for me to tell you what you should do there. I have no advice whatsoever. None. You created this. The radicals are part of the party. These aren't protesters. These are Democrats. And they're going to be right there at the convention on the floor, on the stage. So it doesn't matter where you have it. It doesn't matter what you try and do. They also have Zoom. They're going to be in the room regardless of where you are. Because, again, they're part of the party. You're going to shut them out and tell them, oh, well, we don't want the radical Democrats at the convention. Sorry, you don't get to do that. The radicals are leading the party. The radicals are in the White House, including this president. So this is what you get. This is what happens. And I really can't wait. I can't wait to see how this whole thing goes down. I really can't. And it's, but it's par for the course. Like we've been talking about Bill Maher and others who have, now they're going, well, what is going on with these Democrats? You guys helped build this. You know damn well what's going on.
And again, we played it yesterday, but I did see social media today, people saying, wow, Megyn Kelly within just 3 minutes took down, clueless Bill Maher.
Yep, shut him down.
Shut him down completely.
Yep.
And it's what we want to see more of that. Mm-hmm. We understand that Bill, and I credit Bill Maher for for evolving.
Right.
But to sit there and say that the Democratic Party left him, well, it did in a way because they went so crazy that he just couldn't defend it anymore. But the fact is he helped create it. He wasn't fighting against identity politics. He was initially denying that the radical transgender movement even existed.
Yeah.
So, and he got a ton of stuff wrong as, with Megyn Kelly, and she called him on everything, and he had to go, oh, okay, oh, okay, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine in 3 minutes being undressed like that and then going back on the air again.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're completely shredded.
Yeah, he had no answer.
Yeah, there were. In fact, not only did he not have an answer, he had to come around to agreeing with her.
Well, it's one thing to have your own show and to write your opening monologue.
Right.
To have it pre-written and then have people that really on his show, most people really don't challenge him on his show.
Right.
I mean, in a very blunt way, Megyn Kelly did. Boom, that didn't happen. Yeah, it did. No, it didn't. Here's the evidence. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. He kept saying, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
So it's different when you walk into somebody else's, studio and everything isn't, pre-written for you.
Right.
And I'm not, by the way, I'm not criticizing the format of his show. He can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just talking about in the arena of ideas and what he promotes. He has been, and it's not true.
Nope.
He never fought against identity politics when they were going after black conservatives.
No.
It's only when it became untenable because it just got to be insanity when they started eating their own, actually.
Right.
And then on the radical transgender movement, we played the Dennis Prager cut from 2019.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? What do you mean men can't menstruate? Who the heck is talking? Nobody's talking about that. And they were talking about it at the time. He just denied that it was in existence.
Right.
And that's the whole point. There isn't one topic that you and I won't address.
No.
And when you stay, and we just don't pretend, well, I don't know anything about that. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he did. So it was good to see. Like I said, credit with him with his evolution, how he's evolved.
Well, I don't know. Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, we kind of went back to also with the radicals now after October 7th and him, questioning all of that. And sorry, Bill, you're part of that too. Well, we said Bush and all the other guys were Hitler, but Trump really is Hitler. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Which side is calling for the eradication of the Jews?
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Most owner-operators leased to larger carriers are paid on a per-mile basis or a percentage of revenue per load. The per-mile basis is most prevalent among larger fleets. Percentage at smaller. Pay per mile tends to dominate discussions about pay just because it's easier to measure, and pay per mile often is wrongly used as the deciding factor in leasing to a carrier. While pay per mile can be a vital factor, it's not a cure for every ill, nor does it mean a big settlement check is coming an owner-operator's way. Why? Because pay per mile always must be considered in balance with gross revenue as well as total costs. Gross revenue can include flat mileage pay that varies by length of haul, percentage revenue pay, and more. Most importantly, though, for every revenue dollar generated, only part of that dollar is profit. But for every extra dollar of cost saved, the entire dollar contributes to profit. Knowing and understanding your cost to operate is fundamental to understanding the true value of any pay package. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Running Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Nikki Haley. Interesting. It's is an endorsement saying you're going to vote. I don't think she actually used the word endorse.
No, she just said vote.
Vote, and but I guess that's viewed as an endorsement because she could have said I'm voting for Biden. That's what the Never Trumpers were hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
She was tweeting like every minute yesterday for a while. I was going through it all. And she was just going point by point by point about Biden. All of it's true, and all of it aligns with what Trump says. So, for her to do anything else, especially after all those tweets, you could sort of see where she was going on. And she just didn't say, I'm voting for Trump. She listed all these reasons, and specific reasons why, she, could never support Biden and the problem with Joe. Now, why is she doing it? Does she wish to? Is there a consideration of her as vice president?
Well, I mean, there is consideration. I don't know if Trump is considering her, but there are people that. What was the poll that came back? Where did she come back? 12% in that poll.
Something like that. Yeah, DeSantis was, and DeSantis isn't going to do it. But
yeah, right.
But, if look, politics makes strange bedfellows, as we always know.
Well, I mean, that's you go back to 1980 with George H.W. Bush and Reagan, and you look at and that it wasn't quite the same in terms of the back and forth. But no, all is forgiven after the primary season. It's just been that way forever.
And I look at this and especially after the last month, I think everything has changed. I think Trump, in a way, has changed.
I think he sees now that there's really only one way to get ultimately what you want. And if this is going to be it, if he's going, first of all, he has to win. And if he's going to get his agenda done and really build his legacy and get all the good things done that should be done and fix everything that's broken, he's going to need every single person in his party right now who has any influence and who might hold any office. Ramaswamy making the rounds again yesterday. They were talking about the campaign fundraising through Bitcoin and all of that. And there is you need as many surrogates as you can get to win. And those surrogates have to be on board. And the important ones have to be on board. And say what you want about Nikki Haley, but she was the last one out in the primary. So there you have it, And now, many people believe she should have been out much sooner than she got out.
Right, but let's understand. And again, I didn't think I thought she had a great start. Remember when she had her start and we said, okay, that's how you do it. She had a great start and she had many people out there, and we always look and say, don't announce you're running for president in front of 10 people. Don't be, well, you saw the Biden fundraiser that was it, New Hampshire, where everybody was on it going, there's no excitement, there's nobody here. I mean, it's like half hour before and it's like a morgue. And,
yeah.
And so and Nikki Haley did it right to kick it off. I'm not a huge Nikki Haley fan, but let's put it this way. Her and Trump agree on 90% of things.
On the issues.
They're
right. Very similar and mostly similar.
And is anybody who's going to vote for Trump not going to vote for Trump because Nikki Haley is his vice president?
Nope. There's no one that I don't know of anyone that fits that bill. In fact, you could say the opposite. You could say, are there independents who look at it and say, I don't know about Trump? And I'm not saying that they're never Trumpers. They're just going, I'm not sure about Trump. And then Nikki Haley's on board and they're like, okay, all right. That I could get on board for. That and again, we don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know that it's a great move. I can't quantify any of that and how many independents would get on board, but you did see independents. Now there could be plenty of independents that say, you know what, I was on board for Nikki Haley until this.
Did you see any backlash at all when DeSantis and Trump met and made peace.
No.
Because Republicans realize that they have to win. And I was thinking about this yesterday after Nikki Haley did this. And by the way, just so people know, when we do this, we're not necessarily talking about our personal preferences.
No.
We're putting on our political consultant hat. What is the best thing for the Republicans to do? And I was thinking, okay, what looks better, Trump and Nikki Haley or Trump and Tim Scott? Because Tim Scott, I know they're seriously considering.
Right. Yeah.
And I went, okay, is there really a difference at all? I don't see it.
Polling better than Biden. Eric and Gary on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you want if you can't listen live overnight. So the first thing you and I were talking about was, okay, what's the motivation of Nikki Haley to say she's going to vote for Trump? Why not just say, well, I'm not endorsing anybody and leave it at that?
Right. Yeah.
Has there been communications? Now, you and I talked about this last week when Mike Johnson went down, when the speaker went down, and we said, okay, now you've got DeSantis, you've got Mike Johnson, you've got all these other surrogates, Republicans heading down to the courthouse. And the one, person you don't have is Nikki Haley, who's still pulling in, even in the primaries that don't count. You see that there's that protest vote out there. Well, now she's on board, and people say, well, she didn't endorse him. She's just going to vote for him.
That's an endorsement.
That
level, that's an endorsement.
Well, that's sort of like the Bill Maher argument. Well, that Biden didn't concede, the others conceded, but said the election was stolen.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, all right. You're not going to get too far with that,
right,
as Bill Maher found out.
Right.
You're just not going to get too far with that. People don't care. They've already priced that in. So you say, Nikki Haley's doing this. You really right now, because of that, have a united Republican Party. And so you have to ask yourself, and I know there are people out there, again, I don't know what the right thing is for the Republicans to do. This is such a unique election. Well, I know what they should do on the issues. I can tell you where they should go there. Who is the absolute right fit for Trump? I can't tell you, and I don't know that it really matters. But we do know that Nikki Haley pulled in a certain percentage of Republicans, and if Trump decided, and by the way, we have no information that Trump has any interest in bringing Nikki Haley aboard as vice president.
Right.
We're simply talking the politics of it and looking at it as if we're political consultants, that you look at it and you say, all right, she's still pulling in a certain number of Republicans that won't vote for me.
Right.
If you're Trump, that's what you have to say if you're Trump's campaign person. So can we now, can we start talking? Can we be seen together and be talking together? And can I mention her once in a while and say, look, campaigns are tough, but, Nikki Haley, worked in my first administration, and things got heated, but we agree on 90% of the issues out there.
Right.
And so, she's one of my considerations. And you've got another month, another 2 months before you really have to decide. And so you get the Republican Party used to it. I don't think anybody who's going to vote for Trump is going to not vote for Trump because of Nikki Haley.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that.
But if he picks Nikki Haley, she's the heir apparent.
Well, right.
And so people might say, Nikki, well, okay, we got Trump and Nikki Haley's there, and then she's the one that could be president afterwards.
And there's that, and there's also even if she's not the VP or any of them aren't the VP, in the coming together of the party, it is critical right now. It is critical that they win. It's critical that not only they win, but they can also stay together after the election, and as they move into 25, if they win, then get some things done. That's going to be required. You're going to have to do this, and you and I talked about that back in 2016 during the whole original Drain the Swamp thing, which was, no Paul Ryan as speaker. No, it's like, okay, you can throw everybody out. Look, we're no fans of Paul Ryan. The the whole Kevin McCarthy thing. It's like, look, Kevin McCarthy, it's not the point of the person. It's the point of the constituents that back the person and the constituents that back the party in general, collectively. And all of this, where the mindset is. And you have to change hearts and minds. And that's the difference. I believe it's a lot of people, well, the infighting has to stop. I'm okay with the infighting. I don't want there to be. I'm not cheering on. I'm not getting up every day going, dang it, I wish there was more infighting. But I'm saying that I don't have a problem with infighting per se. I don't have a problem with Matt Gaetz per se having a problem with Kevin McCarthy or Johnson or any of them, or MTG having a problem with any of them. The remedy is what I have a problem with. Don't just burn the house down because you don't like the way the furniture looks. This is the entire picture that has to be seen. And even if none of them are chosen, only one will be chosen as the VP. But even if Nikki Haley isn't chosen as the VP, in 2028, if you're going to be a long-term viable candidate, this goes for Ron DeSantis, any of them, then in 2028, whether Trump wins this year or not, Trump's endorsement is still going to be a big deal because his base is going to go where he goes. And that kind of endorsement in 28 is going to be critical to a campaign. And the lack of endorsement by Trump in 2028 is going to be detrimental to the campaign. It's going to hurt badly. So wherever Trump goes, he's still going to have that great influence with his base. That's not going away. It's just not. It's been around since 2016. You can say, well, it might fade. All right, there are ebbs and flows, but right now, it doesn't look to be the case that's ever going to change.
And there are unique variables in there. For example, Lawfare has changed everything for Republicans. Right. It really has, because nobody thought that you would get to the point of having rogue prosecutors and rogue judges go after a political opponent to the extent that they are doing it, and to protect, on the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, for example, on the whole Biden thing. That's absolute politics to protect a president, the whole thing. And because even Democrats didn't want to touch the whole thing of executive privilege on the president's audio interview with the special prosecutor, Hur.
Right.
Everyone knows that's politics, and everybody knows the Department of Justice is practicing politics and going after Trump where they will not go after Biden.
Yeah.
And so I think that has really brought Republicans together. But Trump still had a base before that. But the lawfare and what's been going on is over a year. But you think about it. Remember Obama, even in the second term, it wasn't as great. And by the time he was out, he didn't have the same loyalty at all. That loyalty towards Obama is not there anymore. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares what Obama has to say. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's 8 years now. Well, I'll go 9 because we can go back to 2015 when the campaign first started. And Trump mania, I'll call it Trump mania, began really in the summer to fall of 2015. Yeah. So you're talking almost 9 years, and the passion for Trump has not waned. Nope. In fact, right now, his poll numbers are better than they've ever been. Yep. Against whether it was Hillary or against or against the Democratic candidate. So it's very unusual what has been created, what Trump has created. And not just Trump, but what the Democrats have helped create. When you think about it, there is nothing that has boosted. Do you think that if there were none of these cases against Trump, that Trump's popularity would be as great? Now, it might be because of inflation and the debacle. But
the radicalism after October 7th, maybe the broken border, inflation, as you mentioned,
But I think the lawfare was what put it over the top. Look at the last month. Look at the polling numbers and how they still continue to go up that are shocking people in these swing states.
All the other items are more in the corner of anti-Biden. The lawfare is a pro-Trump. It is about he's the poster child for it. He's the face of the entire lawfare because everything is targeting him specifically. And I don't know that any other American politician right now, if they were the target of such lawfare, I don't know that they would get it the way. I don't know that there would be, and maybe there would, but the sentiment surrounding it, and the reason is because Trump has been a household name for decades. Trump is a billionaire. Trump is very powerful and was before he became president. And he's also a former president. So if there were another candidate right now that had never been president, they weren't a billionaire, they weren't a household name for decades, and they were the target of lawfare, I think it would still be a big deal, but I'm not so sure that it would be as big as it is right now. Again, I could be wrong. I think it's you're putting it. It has two effects. It has more than that, but two main effects are, I think it creates this now clearer picture of what the left is all about, but it also washes away a lot of the toxicity surrounding Trump, and that's a big deal politically. That's a massive deal politically.
I did see it. There was a headline. It was yesterday in Drudge, and it's gone now. But it was, I'm paraphrasing here, but it was like Trump's been wrong so long that people are starting to wear on him, or that people are starting to, he's starting to wear on people. I don't see that.
I don't think that's it.
I don't see that. And, well, the polling itself. Well, what's your evidence? The polling, and well. You don't believe polls. Well, we never said that. Other people have said that.
We look at the movement in the polls.
We look at the movement and the inertia, and all of it says the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And so I don't see it at all. And in fact, and this is the thing. This is what's made the difference, and we've hammered this home if we've hammered anything, that the difference now is that all of the left's narratives, everything that they have promoted on all the issues has now hit reality, and that's why we came up with the saying that the biggest enemy of the Democrats is not the Republicans, it's reality. Yeah. You can't fight reality. And the other thing is on the social issues, as you've said, Democrats have always thought that they're fighting Republicans, and they're not. They're fighting the parents.
Yeah.
And that's the difference here. But really, all the liberal ideas have now hit reality. And reality doesn't care.
Yeah.
Economic reality doesn't care whether you're a Democrat or Republican. It doesn't matter.
Right.
All that matters is economics always works in one way.
Right.
And that's what you're seeing across the board in so many different things that the Democrats have promoted. If you do this, this will happen. And they didn't happen.
Right. By the way, that Siena poll in New York State, now within single digits, it's 9 points, where Biden leads Trump. And keep in mind the New York Times Siena poll that kind of shattered the dreams of many Democrats.
What did you say the first poll?
The Siena poll in New York State has Biden down to us, and this was a big deal yesterday. I don't see it as a big deal because the margin of error, you can say, well, it's not necessarily single digits. But in New York State, the lead Biden has over Trump is now down to 9 points.
9 points. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
it's single digits. They said, it's down to single digits. They made okay. Well, if you account for margin of error, then not so much. But if it is the case, and let's say that the Siena poll, that it's even more the case. Let's say it's down to 6 or 7 points in New York State. You brought up. We were talking about Lee Zeldin the other day. And when you look at the impact that he had and how close he got in that governor's race. We talked about his performance in that race and how incredible that was, and it had to do with the things he was talking about and the way he was connecting. And where, there might be, maybe there's a place for Zeldin in the Trump administration if Trump wins, things like that. But the question is, and I thought about this the other day, is the trial or everything going on, the Letitia James case and the Alvin Bragg case, is that affecting New Yorkers in any way? Is that what's going on in this poll?
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So, yeah, I think with Nikki Haley saying that, you have as united as a Republican Party as you have had in years.
Yeah.
Right now, and the Lawfare, this trial really has united Republicans. Now, if they find Trump guilty, even though obviously this will be overturned on appeal. Mm-hmm. Will Trump be? This is the big question, because everything conventional thought was this was going to kill Trump. That's why they did it.
Yeah.
And it said the complete opposite effect.
Right.
Will the momentum continue? Will Trump become a martyr if found guilty?
Is that part of the consideration by Merchan, the judge? Does he want to be responsible for helping to create a martyr in Trump?
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. As always, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, just some general audio. We just got a ton of audio we got to play before we get out of here tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because Memorial Day weekend's coming up. So,
yeah.
Any plans? I'll have the audio cuts in just a moment here.
Yeah, there's always something going on. I don't have the entire weekend lined out right now in front of me, but a number of things. I might be traveling. There's kind of a contingency. I might be traveling to go help a family member. So we don't know yet if that's going to be the case. So if we do, that's going to be leave Saturday, come back maybe Monday. So
for me, it's my yearly trip to Tarpon Springs, Florida.
All right.
To see my buddy Jerry and his wife Mary.
Jerry, Mary, and Gary.
Yeah, Jerry, Mary, and Gary.
Yeah.
And as I said, was it yesterday, the day before, 50 years ago, right now, we both started working at the bank together. That's where I met him 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Man, oh, man. Seems like yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Funny thing is, life is slow, except when you look back at the memories. Like, well, that just happened yesterday. But, I mean, at times life has been very slow for me.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I was having a conversation about something that happened in December. I was talking to my dad yesterday. It was his birthday. He had a great birthday. He was doing well. And I said something, and it related back to December, which in many ways feels like it was 10 minutes ago. And here we are closing out May in a few days.
I know, yeah.
You know, and then I think about, all right, because I always go by the R month. You know, the if you get into the fall months, rather, September and November and all of that, you get into the, that it's for us now this year, it's the heart of the political season. And I think to myself, that's not that far away. Now, for us in Texas, it's like, okay, yeah, but there's a long, hot summer between now and then.
Yeah.
But honestly, the summer, because I work this shift, it's not that big of a deal because I'm not out every day, all day in the heat. I'm in my cool home, and, so I sleep through much of it, a few hours a day. And so I just think to myself, it tends to go faster and faster.
Well, actually, I experience the heat because I'm always up during the day.
No, I'm up during the day,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is not like most people where you're up, you get up at 6 a.m. and then you go to bed at 10 or 11 p.m.
I would look at it that most people are working in air conditioning during the day, and we're outside doing yard work during the day instead of late at night or early in the morning.
Depending on the job.
You do it early in the morning, though. You do.
Well,
you
it's
go out early.
like yesterday and, actually the last 2 weeks. I'm usually, if I've got a project outside, I'm usually out there until 3 or 4. I don't like letting a project go on and on. I don't like a project to go days and days and days. Sometimes it can't be helped because you have to do prep. You have to do certain things, especially when it comes to painting. You can't just put a second coat on right away. You have to wait for everything to cure. You have to do all these things. So it often takes a really long, long time. But no, I mean, depending on the job, I have friends that do work out there, and they get there at 6, 7 in the morning, and they're out there until 5, 6 in the afternoon, working construction, working. One is in charge of maintenance and landscaping for an entire school district. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah.
So I'm going to the birthplace of Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah, all right.
Tarpon Springs, Florida.
Yeah, all right.
And the roller skating rink where some of the initial members of the band started.
Gonna do some roller skating?
No, but we went by I went by the roller skating rink a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But thanks for reminding me, though, that when we stop by the brewery there, Two Frogs, because I almost forgot because last year they didn't have it. They ran out of it. Chocolate coconut beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what? Chocolate. It's really not. It technically is a beer, but it tastes like a dessert.
Yeah.
And you don't go in and have, I think I'll have 5 of them. That thing, you could sip on that thing for 3-4 hours because it tastes like a dessert.
Yeah. Is it a craft beer? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They got some great craft beers. I mean, you look at it and you go, that's a blue summer drink. No, it's a beer. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I had to sip of the blue, I don't even know what it's called, the blue summer drink one time. And that was just like, well, that's really good. That's a beer? But luckily, I don't get there often because it's Carb City. One thing about craft beers is it's basically, forget about the alcohol. The carb content is the heroin for me.
Yeah. Right.
It's like there's so much carb.
Yeah.
You know what I started doing? Because you told me about it. I've been doing this lately. Now, being a type 2 diabetic, that pasta, rice, stuff like that,
right,
is just horrible for you.
Right.
But I think, were you the one that told me that if you freeze like spaghetti?
Refrigerated. I mean,
refrigerate,
I guess
not freeze it. Yeah, freeze it. I've been doing that lately because that's the one thing I miss more than anything. Now, I get super low, high fiber, spaghetti. And, but I've been doing that. I cook it up, then I put it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, let it freeze, and not let it freeze, let it cool down, let it get cold, and then reheat it again.
Yeah, studies showed that if you do that, it has the glycemic effect is different
Right.
and also it promotes gut health, and so which is great. What's interesting is that for some reason I don't know what it is, but like really hot pasta or really hot rice, I've always had an issue with it. I don't have diabetes, but I've always had an issue to the extent that I love like leftover Chinese. I like leftover pasta. I like the pasta and rice that's been refrigerated. I actually prefer that. And turns out it's better for you, according to the latest study. But then, of course, 2 years from now, they'll come back and go, oh, no, we meant worse for you. Wine's good for you. Wine's bad for you.
And then I'll be on my deathbed when that news comes in.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It was the pasta.
If you did this even one time. What? I did it many times.
I don't have to be here in this on my deathbed at the moment.
Yeah.
But actually, when I'm thinking about it, I'm most focused on like the eats when I'm there and it's Tarpon Springs, what is it, Palm Harbor, hanging around there, probably a little bit, probably won't go to Clearwater Beach because it's being mobbed for Memorial Day weekend. It's like where I live. I always am out of town for 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Labor Day.
Right.
Because it's mobbed where I live in a vacation. Basically, it's a vacation place, the lake I live on, and it's just people on the lake. It's just, it's like, well, what would I do if I was here? I'd be sitting at home. So might as well go out and do stuff. But
here's by the way, here's a story our audience may be wondering on this whole pasta thing. When pasta is cooled down, your body digests it differently, causing fewer calories to be absorbed and a smaller blood glucose peak. And reheating it is even better. It reduces the rise in blood glucose levels by a whopping 50%. That's huge. That's big.
Well,
and it changes the. It also changes the fiber content. They say so. It's again, it's. They say it's better. Why not give it a shot? I would be interested to see if anecdotally, if someone has ever done that with in testing their blood sugar. Let's say with fresh pasta as opposed to chilled pasta. I would love to see.
Well, I'm going to be doing the experiment. I already decided now when I take my blood sugar, I'm going to eat the pasta, or I'm going to try doing it with rice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because one thing I miss more than anything is rice.
Mm. Yeah.
That's the one that, like, once a year, and I haven't done it in a year, but normally the most I'll do it is once a year, I'll get Chinese food with rice.
Right.
But now when I get it, I'm going to put everything in the refrigerator and eat it the next day.
Well, there's
and see how it affects after 2 hours and 8 hours my blood sugar.
There's a Thai dessert, if you like Thai food, that I discovered a while back, and it's sticky rice with mango.
Oh, I make the best. I make the best sticky rice on the planet, by the way. Just so you know.
Yeah,
I had a Hawaiian dish, and I used to make my Hawaiian chicken and sticky rice.
Oh my gosh, and it comes with a sweetened coconut milk sauce that you pour over it. No, it's crack. I mean,
is this food pornography?
Oh, it's crack because mango. I could sit and eat fresh mango forever.
Man, mango sauce though on the
and
sticky
then,
rice.
Oh yeah, no.
My goodness.
That's when I first ordered it. It comes and then I look at this little bowl of sauce that wasn't poured over it. You kind of pour over whatever you want. And I was like, what is this? Oh. And then I tasted it and I was like, oh no. Oh no. This can only end badly. And that I like a good chicken fried rice or something like that. I like fried rice. I like sticky rice.
Shrimp fried rice I will die for.
Yeah. That kind of thing. Not the biggest just rice fan, but I mean, if it's done right in a dish, it's great.
Well, I will be
the
going.
Sauces is what kills me. I mean, that's.
I will be going to in downtown Tarpon Springs. I will be going to Rusty Belly's on Sunday. Jerry they were there yesterday, and he said, "Are we going here Sunday?" Because I get in there, I get in Friday afternoon, and I stay till I take the direct flight out like Sunday night at 5:00, so I'm back here by 8. But it's like Sunday afternoon. He said, "We're going to be here," and I went, "I want the shrimp, sausage gumbo that they make there." I mean, it's just, now there's rice in it. That'll be a cheat day for me. I can take a legitimate cheat day.
Right.
That will be, because I should say, look, could you guys freeze the rice? Make the rice, freeze it, and then put it in the gumbo for me.
Or just refrigerate it is all you have to do.
Just refrigerate the whole thing and then reheat it again. Yeah, I guess there's no difference.
You don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to freeze it.
That means I can do. I haven't done chicken and rice soup in the longest time.
My wife makes a jambalaya with that has chicken and sausage in it, and their family members have been known to fight over it. I mean, we have it at gatherings, and there's got to be plenty for everybody, plus leftovers. It's so good. You
and I are going to save the hot dogs and hamburgers for maybe 4th of July or something.
In fact, I had at my dad's celebration, we actually went to see Dad last weekend, and my sister had some really great hamburger meat and some hot dogs. So, I kind of got a kickstart on that. Had one of each last weekend, so I'm good. I think this weekend, my wife made beef tips in this sauce, and it's waiting for me in the fridge when I get home. Man, I'm so hungry.
And that's breakfast.
Yeah, it will be.
Actually, dinner.
It'll be great.
If we get out of here, technically it's dinner for us.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I can do the rest of the show now that you've got me focused on food.
I'm starving.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Oh, wait a minute. We're talking food. I saw this story. Fox had it. Japanese competitive eater Takeru Kobayashi has announced his retirement in a new Netflix documentary in which the 6-time winner of the famous Nathan's hot dog eating contest revealed he no longer has an appetite. He's 46 years old. Kobayashi opened up about his health concerns in the film Hack Your Health, The Secrets of Your Gut. He estimated that over the course of 20 years, he's eaten around 20,000 hot dogs. I hear people say they're hungry and they look very happy after they've eaten. I'm jealous of these people because I no longer feel hunger. The informational film follows the lives of 4 individuals, each of who have their own digestive health issues. Kobayashi talks about his lack of an appetite, which his wife revealed has led the competitive eater to go days without having a meal. Ever since I started this career, I wonder what damage I've caused my body. Yeah. No blank, Sherlock.
Yeah, 20,000 hot dogs. By the way, I call that amateur. 20,000. Are you kidding me?
But here he is. I've decided to retire from competitive eating.
I've decided that I would give up dunking hot dogs in water and shoving them in my face to the point of nearly making myself sick in order to get a T-shirt.
I just love this. It's
or whatever they get.
I've decided to retire from competitive eating. It's all I've done for the last 20 years. I'm worried about what my next step will be, but I'm excited about my future. I have mixed feelings.
Listen,
I mean, it's
I was the fourth in out of 5 kids and the youngest boy. You don't know competitive eating, Mr. Kobayashi. Competitive eating when I was a kid was, I better wake up and get to the table first because all my brothers will eat all the breakfast. Yeah, I can never watch that. I can't watch those videos. They look gross. There's nothing appealing. There's nothing appealing at all to that. Nothing appealing to that at all. It's gross. And I wish they'd stop doing it because, it'll be coming up when around the 4th of July, they'll be doing the whole thing. Stop it. Just stop doing it. There's no reason to do it.
They do it now. They started in Buffalo probably 20 years ago with the wings, and everybody shows up to eat the wings. Mm-hmm. Instead, I'm like, I just,
no.
I'm more of a recreational eater.
Well,
I've experimented with eating too.
Yeah, exactly. With your lab coat and whatnot. But then the cheeks puffing out, their face is red, their eyes are bulging. I mean, it looks like they're actually having a heart attack at that moment and for a long time.
Looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he gets blown out, he's in the atmosphere in Mars.
Yeah, listen to me. That
was theater of the mind there.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. If you can't listen live overnight, just want to play this here because this is, we talked about the Trump campaign and what, they're doing. Looking at the Biden campaign, they really seem to be focusing on the same lies over and over again.
Yeah.
Biden said, a week ago, he's going to send Kamala Harris out there to talk about the economy. Well, she's really talking about whatever comes to her mind. And this is one of the things that she talked about in an interview.
You look at, for example, how they've been for the last years attacking the freedom to vote and have access to the ballot. Places like Georgia, passing laws that make it a crime, make it against the law to give people food and water who are standing in line to vote.
Yeah. Essentials, necessary, things necessary to live.
But the hypocrisy, right? What happened to love thy neighbor?
My God. What happened to love thy neighbor as I tell a lie? I'm going to try to get the spiritual high ground I'm going to try to get the spiritual high ground as I lie to you.
By the way, I agree. I think because the reality is that campaigns can't be providing that water and food. That's what it comes down to. I think the Trump campaign should be able to provide 4-star chef catered meals. Why should people have to settle for, snacks and whatnot and just bottled water? I think it should be wine and 4-star catered meals by the Trump campaign.
For God's sakes, grab a sandwich before you go out and vote.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on. Jeez.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know who the gentleman is interviewing her. He goes, you need that to live.
Yeah,
as if
right.
I go to vote as if it's a food bank.
Well, no, I'm the guy who, and I take mostly flights that are 3.5 hours or less. But I'm the guy who says, why is it that so many people get on a plane as if they're never going, it's going to be days before they have access to food again. What is that? It's usually a nervous thing, and it's also, I know what it is, but it just seems like a little overkill. You can't wait the 3.5 hours.
You never
You didn't eat before you left?
Well, you never know when you're going to be stuck on the tarmac for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Once you get in the plane and they close the door,
Yeah.
you ain't getting off the plane unless they let you off the plane.
Right.
But I love it because that's calculated now.
Yeah.
You know, you have seen, for example, one of the things that they both come out with, and the campaign is now involved with, is the same lies.
Yeah.
You know, that the Georgia election law, which they didn't touch for a while now, that the Georgia election law denies you food and water, the essentials for life. Apparently, everybody is voting in a desert somewhere where you've got to have, where's the oasis? We need the oasis. Is there an oasis near the voting machine somewhere here, please?
Right.
But, of course, we know that that's not true. What it was is the fact that you cannot, they don't want people handing it out. You can put it in a certain area where voters can get it. You can't be there with them because they don't want anybody trying to influence you or talking to you.
They don't
once you get near the polling. That is something that the majority of Americans agree with. But for God's sakes, they're making it sound like, well, the Georgia election law is out to make sure that people die of thirst and of starvation at the polling.
As Karine Jean-Pierre would say, they're literally dying in line waiting to vote. Yeah. No, it's laughable. It's designed so that the surrogates and you see the people that are, just beyond the legal distance. You see all the signs at all the polling places and everything else, and that's 9 times out of 10 is they're paying attention to the rules. They don't want, look, would it be horrible if a brand like MAGA water, just fell into the hands somehow of people voting? It could, make America hydrated again. This is
MAGA water.
But that's
MAGA.
This is the silliness of the whole thing. Is I can't believe that they're bringing it up again.
Well,
which is an old debate. How desperate do you have to be to go back? I mean, how long does that go back? It's a couple of years on the Georgia law.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that specific argument with the food and water. You're not allowed to give people. No, you're right. Trump should show up with a 4-star chef. Cater the whole thing. You're right. Not only
like going to a Japanese restaurant,
right?
They make the food in front of you,
right?
Well, you sit here, and you just move along the line.
Right. Look,
as the chef in front of you will create this wonderful chicken and shrimp with rice dinner for you.
And he stacked the onions. It's like now the onions look like a volcano. Look at that. That's crazy.
2021.
Yeah.
It was 2021.
Wow. So it's.
I just checked. The All-Star game was moved out. But it was all based on a lie, as we've said.
Right.
All of it was based on a lie, and they keep repeating this. I was reading an article, another op-ed piece. Where did I see it from Real Clear Politics? I think it was the Biden campaign has a Trump fatigue problem from the New York Magazine, and they're doing the same thing. But the young people don't know about that. The both sides have good people. Well, that's a lie.
Yeah.
And everything they go through, and it's something that we brought up, and somebody I think was on Twitter or something. Didn't they? They were responding to something that not Margot Hemingway. What's her name from? I can't think of her name.
Molly Hemingway.
Molly Hemingway. I think. Okay, I'm confusing her with Margot Cleveland.
There you go.
Okay. Molly Hemingway, where they were talking about. Let me just see here. Oh yeah, Molly. I heard from the Red Eye guys that we need to remember that Democrats only talk to Democrats. They never hear all of the info, but that's what's going on. When you do that, you're only talking to Democrats.
Right.
And you're repeating something that has not worked for you because it doesn't stick in Georgia anymore. That's done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is no, and they're trying to use the Georgia election law, saying the Georgia election law is an effort to keep people from the polls. That's not what happened after the Georgia election law was passed.
Right. Right.
And so they're trying to use the same arguments over and over again, but this is what happens when people keep talking to themselves. And what you hear, I've seen a couple of articles, the one article I mentioned from New York Magazine, which is bringing up the same thing for Democrats, that we need to keep pounding the same thing that hasn't worked because there are new people coming in that haven't heard the story. So we need to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. I want to play this here from MSNBC. Stephanie Ruhle, again, talking about the fact that Americans need an economic explainer because the American people are confused about what's going on in the economy. They just don't know, and all this. And I want to play this because they're arguing the same point over and over again that hasn't worked. Right. Because they live in their own bubble. They never reach out and say, what do independents think? You and I have always told Republicans and many of our listeners that the only goal is to get independence because your base is going to remain the same if you're true to the majority of issues that you believe. And so the thing is to do is you look at the opposition, and it's never been easier before. The opposition, where they stand on the issues, they're insane. You need to convince independents, they're insane. That's what Trump is successfully doing and the Republicans are successfully doing, not to the degree I think is possible, because still the polls don't match where the people stand on the issues, but at least the polls are showing you can win because of the issues.
Right.
The polling is showing that. But here's Stephanie Ruhle here on MSNBC. Listen to this. Here we go.
And now a new report from the Fed shows people are still struggling to cover day-to-day expenses, even as inflation has slowed. But some big consumer brands are beginning to take action. Target says it is cutting prices on 5,000 essential items, things like milk, butter, pet food. Wendy's is now offering a $3 breakfast deal, and rivals like McDonald's are offering new, lower-priced value meals. Here to discuss, an old friend of mine, Austin Goolsbee, president and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. We need an economic explainer. People are confused, they're exhausted, but they're also doing quite well. So I want to start with prices. They've been an issue for everyone. What is your take when you hear about big consumer brands actually cutting prices?
Good, but you've had inflation that got way too high in the U.S. and in other countries around the world. Incomes didn't keep up with that. Now inflation slowed in 2023, actually quite a lot. Inflation came down almost as much as it's ever come down.
That's false.
Right. Yeah.
All of that is false. Inflation has not come down.
No.
The inflation rate has come down, but it's the same thing that people are confused. They don't realize, they're also doing quite well financially, and talking about you've got the value meal from Wendy's and value meal from McDonald's. We gave you the story yesterday about McDonald's, the independent franchisees who are saying we can't afford this.
Right.
We can't afford to do it. The reason they're cutting is because they're hurting in sales.
Right.
That's why they're cutting.
Right.
But that's not for their entire menu.
No,
at all, and it's only temporary.
The value menu used to be something that was just short of a loss leader. The value menu was meant to bring you in, and then hopefully you would go for one of the larger meals or sandwiches, and if not, at least it would create that long-term loyalty with the brand. And now if you're in this age of everyone desperate to find a value, if you put a value menu back together in fast food, the risk is everyone's coming in for the value menu. And so it's going to be driving sales, and those sales will be losses according to the franchisees here at McDonald's, and you can't get around that. my question would be, and I wonder, because it was like, what was it, 4 items or 3 items or whatever for $5 on the McDonald's menu? That was going to be the offering.
4 items, yeah.
4 for $5. I wonder where the price point is on the loss for these franchisees. Is it $6 for any of those items? Is it $7? Is it $8?
No, that's
where is that? Where is it that they start to lose money? And because I don't know of anything. There really is no fix, and people would be driven to that. That's the difference. In a good economy, you have a value menu because it's part of branding, right? In a bad economy with such inflation, people are desperate to find those values, and that will be a driver for sales. And when it's a loss, that spells catastrophe.
But here you have Stephanie Roll on MSNBC saying, again, people are confused. They don't know what's going on, and they do. And that's where people feel insulted. And we've talked about the number of polls and the number of people being interviewed that said, yeah, they keep saying that the economy's doing great, and I'm working a job and a half, and I can't afford. I'm still going into debt. I still need to use my credit card. Mm-hmm. And they just won't acknowledge what the problem is. What they say is you're confused or you're just stupid as the public, instead of saying the truth, which is government spending.
Yeah, right.
Is what has caused inflation.
Right.
We need to stop the spending.
Yep.
They can't say that.
Nope.
866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Well, coming up, we have the Memorial Day weekend, and then by the time we get back Tuesday, the Trump trial will continue. We'll get into some of that coming up here in just a little bit. The Federal Reserve minutes they met here this week indicate worries over a lack of progress on inflation.
Yeah.
And again, we just don't understand why the people don't understand how great everything is.
Yeah, it should be obvious to everyone.
And the whole Samuel Alito upside-down flag, it doesn't matter because we all now follow the Ginsburg standard, which is you can talk about politics whenever you want, as she did.
Yep.
There.
Right.
We've completed that story.
Yep. Problem solved.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. We got some great audio coming up this hour. Woohoo! Some Ted Cruz audio. And just to give you an example of the insanity of some of the judges that are going through the nomination process right now for Biden, and just how crazy they are, how insane they are. It's just mind-boggling. But that'll be in a moment. But I thought about this. Why can't the left just allow Caitlin Clark to play basketball? What is it about the fact that they just can't get over her? You know, Jamel Hill, who was at ESPN and the racist that she is, you know, came out and said, you know, her popularity is because she's white and everything else.
Yeah.
And Sonny on The View laments Caitlin Clark's popularity and says it's part of white. Now, this is interesting. White and pretty privilege.
Well, there's something I've never known.
pretty privileged. Well, both you and I have no idea what that is. We are not pretty privileged.
No.
Let me look at myself in the mirror. Look at that. Look at that goblin.
Don't.
My God, look at it. Oh, my God.
Don't.
Who the hell could ever love that face?
Yeah.
I don't have pretty privilege.
Why is there a huge picture of a toad hanging over my sink? Oh, no, that's a mirror.
That's the mirror. I will say one thing. I mean, that's the toughest part of working with you. It's damn tough looking at your face. Neither of us blessed with pretty privilege.
Look away!
Look away. I'm hideous. Kramer. But people who believe that we are good looking say, well, what it is when we get to know you, your personalities are great. And so we sort of get used to you guys after a while.
Yeah.
But pretty privilege, they just can't let it go. What in the they're such damn racists. You know, they've got to figure out something. If people like something, they got to be able to, or someone, they have to tear it down. As I said, I played basketball my whole life. I coached basketball. I understand why people like Caitlin Clark. She shoots 40-foot three-pointers and makes them.
She's doing what most people can't do.
Right.
She has a unique talent.
In college, now she's going to have her growing pains in the WNBA. It's a different kind of competition. But in college, she shined. She was a great player to watch.
Well, there's going to be growing pains. I mean, she went from college where people watch to the WNBA where people don't watch.
Now, I do not want to get into this whole thing about whether she is pretty or not, because that would make me, whatever I said, if I said I didn't think she was pretty, people would get on my case.
How dare you?
Right. How dare I judge her as not being pretty?
Is that what it's called?
Exactly.
Ugliest?
Right. And if I said she was pretty, they'd call me a dirty old man.
Right.
So either way, I can't win that.
I think they're calling you a dirty old man anyway. But that's beside the point. They would still call you that.
Okay.
Just for no particular reason.
I still think, I heard that Rush Limbaugh early in his career, that he did a thing one time that and it got people furious, where he said ugly people should be banned. You know, because ugly people, I mean, what good are they? And ugly people tend to hang around with ugly people and tend to procreate and create ugly people.
Yeah.
And apparently people went crazy. How dare he? And of course, the whole point behind that is how many times have somebody said, oh, that's really a beautiful person. You know, that's a good looking person there, whether they're male or female. And the other person's gone, I don't think so.
Yeah. Right.
It's different for everybody. That was the point. You know, it's like, he's discriminated against ugly people. What's the definition of ugly people?
Yeah.
What's the definition of an ugly person?
Yeah.
Well, Caitlin Clark has pretty privilege.
She has pretty privilege.
She has white pretty privilege.
She found her way to the WNBA because she's pretty.
Because she's pretty.
That's right.
Yes. She broke the scoring records in college because she's pretty.
Yeah. All of the...
She's white pretty.
Corporate sponsors were vying for her endorsement slots because, hey, she's pretty.
They just can't let it go, can they?
No.
They just can't. Their
No,
their
they
racism,
can't.
their bigotry, their intolerance is so great. I'm like, well, she's in the WNBA now. She's not getting as much publicity as she got before.
Right.
Because she's playing in harder competition, and she struggled. She played pretty good in the last game, but she's not going to score 30 points a game.
No.
She had 17 the other day, and I heard she played really good the other day.
And we're beyond right now. We're not in championship season, you know, in terms of college and everything else that she was going through, and that's also part of. She stood out during the entire season, but but also at the end when more people are paying attention. But it's the left just can't let it go.
Well,
we can't have anything good. You can't compliment anybody that doesn't fit your agenda, and that's where their racism and bigotry comes out. And it's like, oh, no.
Or their demographic.
Yeah, right.
Who was it who said, remember, it was like, well, thank goodness Caitlin Clark's going to be gone because basketball needs to get back to where it was. Blacks. Remember that one?
Wow.
We're like, what the hell is that? What are you talking about? It's like hockey should be kept all white. I mean, could you imagine if somebody seriously said that? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
No. The reason people are drawn to sports is they don't care whether you're white, black,
the fans don't care.
Asian, they don't care.
The fans don't care.
What do the fans want?
They want performance.
Wins.
Yep, they want performance. You got to get out there. You got to perform. You got to stand out. You got to rise to the top. And by the way, if there isn't that success in the WNBA, her team doesn't see that kind of success, then it fades away. Fame is fleeting, but especially with athletes, you got to perform, and your team in team sports has to perform. And if now I don't know if she's going to be like LeBron. I'm going over here. No, I'm going over here. No, I'm going over here. Ooh, ow, somebody bumped my knee. Ow, ow, ow. I don't know what kind of leverage she's going to have or for how long in the WNBA. All that is yet to be determined. It's based on her performance, number one, and then ultimately, two, the performance of her team. And if that doesn't pan out, then, we saw it with Johnny Football. It turned out his middle name was College. Nobody looked that up.
Well, you see that with a lot of quarterbacks that are stars in the NFL, in their college careers, and then are just busts. In fact, the majority of college quarterbacks are busts because you only have right now. I mean, you think about it, you probably have 7 or 8 or 9 quarterbacks that could take a team to the Super Bowl that are that good, and that's really a rarity for the NFL.
Right.
It's very hard to be, because the competition gets tougher. But, instead of just saying, Caitlin Clark, what a fun player to watch. And
Can't we just enjoy the moment? Right.
And she really brought, helped the popularity of college basketball. And I don't care whether she was white or black. I just care that she performed and was extremely entertaining to watch. It's like to get into the debate because sports analysis is stupid. You hear, who is the best golfer ever? Now, could Tiger Woods, could Jack Nicklaus beat Tiger Woods? Stop it. They played in different eras. There was different training, different equipment, different technology. And I mean technology in everything from medicine to rehabilitation. You can't make the comparison. Stop it. Just enjoy it.
Right.
Why do people have to? We analyze things that don't matter, and we don't analyze things that actually matter.
Right. Well, I heard the competition the other day. I mean, speaking of golf, who has the better mugshot, Tiger or Scheffler? Why do we have to choose? Can't we just enjoy both of them?
Did Tiger ever have a mugshot?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember if he ever had.
Yeah, the Schefflers didn't actually look like a mugshot. You and I both saw the same thing. It was like, did they just stop him in the hallway and take a picture of him? That doesn't look like a mugshot.
One of the things I said one time in the air, I got this one woman that I actually work with and knew, and I put it on Facebook. Mm-hmm. This goes back when remember when Tiger Woods, his so-called, quote, apology,
Yeah.
And his mother was in the audience, and I said, I tell you right now, my mother would have never been in the audience. My mother would have said, you get out there and do it. You own it. I'm not going to be here. I'm not. You own this. You take responsibility for it. I'll be in my house. And this woman got back to me because I put it on Facebook. I can tell you right now, my mother would never have been there, to watch me apologize and embarrass the family like that. And this woman's like, well, you must have a terrible mother. You must have a terrible mother.
Yeah, it was the 2017 DUI thing with Tiger. They used that as a meme. Remember that? The meme was, what was it 2017?
That was the pill thing, right? Was that the pill?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was when he was pulled over. Was that in Florida he was pulled over?
Yeah, I think it was. I got to go back and refresh my memory. Was it 2017?
Well, there's a number of incidents, and so we're confused.
Yeah. May 29, 2017, Woods was found slumped in his Mercedes.
Yeah, that's the one.
It was still running and had flat tires. Oh, man. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so the View co-host Sonny Hostin argued that white privilege and pretty privilege played a role in Caitlin Clark's popularity, and that's because Jamel Hill, again, being the racist that she is. Good God, she's an angry racist too. I'd much rather have happy racists, but she's a bitter and angry racist.
Yeah. It's they tend to be bitter and angry about everything. That's the thing. I was thinking the other day too, because I saw this story. It was actually part of a documentary, and then there was commentary about this events and where these events were happening, which aren't really relevant to this discussion. But there were people that were posting, and they showed some videos. People were posting their anger about this and their anger about that. Again, we've become a society where we've got to jump on social media. We got to be angry. We used to be that it was the celebrities would say, well, I don't read the negative things about me. I don't read this. I don't read the negative comments in this. And now people, everybody is looking at it going, yeah, I'm pretty much done with the negative stuff on social media. It's kind of that give and take, right? We love the train wreck. We love the popcorn moments, but overall, we'd rather do without it. And because what's happening is the left is driving this whole need to be offended by whatever and everything. It doesn't matter. Anything that's offensive or non-offensive, even if it's not offensive, we're going to go out of our way to make it offensive. We're offended by it, and we're offended because we're not offended. I mean, it's just stupid. How dare you put something out that's not offensive? I'm offended by that. And over again. And I think ultimately that will be part of the downfall of social media. And I think you're already seeing that, by the way. I've talked about my granddaughters and their friends. One of my granddaughters, she's younger than her other sister. She's the youngest of the four granddaughters in that family. And her friends are like, we really don't even care if we have smartphones anymore. We like to text each other and call each other. That's what we want phones for, because the social media thing is just stupid. It's just stupid.
Well, that's not me.
Nope.
I want my smartphone.
Well, we need our smartphone. We have work to do.
I'm addicted to
my youngest grandson comes in the room and he goes, so is your job, because I told him, I said, well, I'm working, and I'm in there and I'm on the phone and the TV's on. So is your job just being on your phone and watching TV all day? I said, yeah, pretty much. He's 5, by the way. Number 8 is 5. And he looks at me and goes, huh. And he just like, yeah, okay. And then he walks out of the room. It's like, hey, I have an important job. Your grandfather is kind of important. He's almost famous.
He's on. Is your job watching TV and looking at your phone.
And looking at your phone?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's actually it. Thanks for that self-esteem boost, little man.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. At a roadside inspection, inspectors may ask to see supporting documents. A supporting document is a document generated or received by a motor carrier in the normal course of business that can be used by law enforcement to verify a driver's logs. These documents can include bills of lading, itineraries, schedules, or equivalent documents that indicate the origin and destination of each trip. They can also include dispatch or trip records, expense receipts related to on-duty/not driving periods, including receipts for meals, lodging, and fuel, electronic mobile communication transmitted through a fleet management system, and payroll records, settlement sheets, or equivalent documents that indicate payment to a driver. Drivers using paper logs must also keep toll receipts. Supporting documents must contain the driver's name, carrier-assigned identification number or vehicle unit number that can be linked to the driver, the date, the name of the nearest city, town, or village, and the time. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, we'll have a great audio cut about just the insanity of some of the judges that Biden is putting out there for nomination to the federal court system. Also, the 13th Oregon county passes the Greater Idaho measure to secede from the state.
Wow.
And I love that one. But it all does fit. Remember when I was first started talking about working in Portland?
Right.
When I worked at our great affiliate, KXL. They're in Portland with the great Lars Larson.
Yeah.
And people ask me, what was it like? And I said, well, it's really interesting because you sort of have, inside the city, you basically have fascist, then you move out a little bit, communist, and then socialist, and then, far left Democrats and moderate Democrats, then liberal Republicans and moderate Republicans and far right Republicans, and then you get about 30 miles outside and it's get out of my face.
Yeah, exactly.
Get our Red Eye Radio app in your app store. Then listen at your convenience. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you want if you can't listen live overnight. All right, perfect example here of the insanity of the left. This is Ted Cruz and his questions to Judge Sarah Byrne, who is being nominated as a federal judge by the Biden administration. I'm just going to play it.
All right.
Just going to play it, and you can decide for yourself. Here we go.
Well, Judge Netburn, I'm going to continue on this line of questioning. In your court, what matters more, the rights of individuals or your political ideology?
I apply the law to the facts.
I asked a question. Which matters more?
Well, my political ideology doesn't matter at all.
Okay, so I don't believe you. And I think this case demonstrates that you are willing to subjugate the rights of individuals to satisfy your political ideology. This case involves a male defendant who raped a 9-year-old boy. Was he guilty of that?
Yes, the petitioner pled guilty to that.
Okay, so he raped a 9-year-old boy. He also raped a 17-year-old girl. Was he guilty of that?
He pled guilty. The petitioner pled guilty to that crime as well.
So was he guilty?
I hope so, because she pled guilty to it.
He was a he when he did this.
That's correct.
And also criminal deviant conduct, which the record doesn't disclose what that was exactly. Then, after serving in prison, Mr. McClain was released for parole, but then violated the terms of parole by having internet and was sent back to prison. 1 year after being released again, he was convicted of having child pornography. Is that correct?
I'm unclear on exactly the time frame that you're at, but the petitioner was convicted of distributing child pornography.
Child pornography that was images of adults violently raping children.
Abhorrent conduct.
Okay.
For which there are real victims.
And this individual, 6'2", biologically a man. A minute ago you said that when this man decided that he was a she, you said this individual was, quote, I wrote it down, sober and entirely a female. That phrase struck me as remarkable. Did this individual have male genitalia?
I think what I said, or at least what
that is a verbatim quote, entirely a female.
Sorry, what I meant to say was hormonally a female.
Okay, but that's not entirely. Did this individual have male genitalia?
Yes.
So you took a 6'2" serial rapist, serial child rapist with male genitalia, and he said, you know, I'd like to be in a women's prison. And your answer was, that sounds great to me. Let me ask you something. The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Is that a question you're
yes,
asking me?
The other women in that prison, do they have any rights?
Of course.
Do they have the right not to have a 6'2" man who is a repeat serial rapist put in as their cellmate?
Senator Cruz, I considered the facts presented to me, and I reached a decision
I asked
based
you a question.
on what the law
I asked
is.
you a question. Do they have a right not to have a 6'2" man who is a serial rapist put in as their cellmate? Do those women have a right to that?
Every person who's incarcerated has the right to be safe in their space.
But you didn't think so. You didn't think so. And in fact, I'm going to give some quotes from your order because Senator Kennedy is right. This is not a judge's order. This is a political activist. By the way, the beginning of your order says, at birth, people are typically assigned a gender. I got to say that would astonish a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans think you go to the hospital, a baby is born, and congratulations, you have a little boy, a little girl. The assigned a gender, I know you went to Brown, but it sounds like it's in a college faculty lounge with no bearing on reality. The Bureau of Prison argued what I'm saying right now, that if you put this person in a female prison, there will be a risk of sexual assault to the women. And you know what you did? You said you didn't care about the women. I'm going to quote what you wrote. You wrote, quote, the Bureau of Prisons claim penological interest in protecting female prisoners from sexual violence and trauma. This interest is legitimate, that's kind of you to say, but there are no signs that petitioner is at risk of reoffending. The record is devoid of evidence of incidents of violence or assault during petitioner's incarceration when she was the perpetrator, only the victim. A theoretical risk of sexual assault by the prisoner without more cannot support the BOP's position. No evidence, theoretical. Have you dealt, in what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at a risk of reoffending?
Senator, as I do in every case.
Okay, I know you've been told to repeat the line, I follow the law. I asked a question. In what universe is someone who is a serial repeat child rapist not at risk of reoffending?
Sir, I looked at the facts that were before me in this case. All of the evidence, including the statements of every warden who had supervised this petitioner.
You also wrote, the BOP also posits that permitting petitioner to live among women will be traumatizing and possibly dangerous to them. This concern is overblown. I have to say, if I were the father of one of those women, and you decided that my daughter's cellmate was going to be a 6'2" man who over and over and over again committed violent sexual assault, I would say the entire justice system is absurd, and it is clear on your record your political ideology matters a heck of a lot more than the rights of those women that you endangered. I think you're a radical, and I think you have no business being a judge.
He's right.
When she said twice, I considered the facts. No, you didn't. It's the whole point. You didn't consider the facts at all. You considered only the agenda, only accommodating the perpetrator.
Fully hormonal female.
Yeah.
God help us.
Yeah.
God help us. Shut up.
But this is the radical left today.
Yep.
This is the radical left today. Let's let them do whatever they want to do. Everybody else will suffer.
Yeah, you don't even know where to go with it because this is so far out of any type of reality. Forget about, I don't want to forget about any of it because it's important, but forget about the fact that they're stating that, well, this, I don't believe it was a mistake when she said, it's fully female.
Right.
Because that's what she actually believes. But the fact is, how can you, on any issue, be trusted if, number one, you believe the complete lie that you can change your sex? Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
They try to... We've dealt with this for the longest time because when 10 years ago, if you brought it up, you said, well, wait a minute, you can't be a male can't be a female. Well, we're not saying sex, we're saying gender. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the line, gender and sex became the same as it used to be. Right. You and I have gone through 180 degrees arguing with the left because they've changed 180 degrees.
Yeah.
On the whole gender thing to begin with over the years.
Right.
We know because we don't live in the bubble of today. And we remember what they said yesterday. And we heard, and in fact, they still try to say that, well, gender is different than sex. Well, then if that's the case, then you would not want a male playing against a female.
Right.
If you wish to say that what a person thinks is different than what a person is biologically, okay, I'll agree with that.
Right.
That doesn't justify putting a biological male in a female prison or having a biological male play against, play sports against women.
Right.
And the delusion that exists here, as far as I'm concerned, if you hold that opinion, you don't have any critical thinking skills at all. You're not qualified for anything when it comes to law.
Well, because part of the justice system, in fact, the reason for the justice system is to protect individuals, even within that setting where they're incarcerated with other people who are incarcerated. Those other prisoners do have the right. They have the right to be protected from predators. And when you are going to set all of those aside, she did the opposite of considering all the facts. She ignored all the facts and only considered the agenda, which means that she was creating this predatory situation. You're not going to change that. Once you allow that, it's only a matter of time. And of course, now we see what's happened. Now we see exactly how this plays out because they're too worried about not being a part of the agenda. She thinks she's a hero. She thinks she's a hero for doing these things because the left doesn't consider the victims. How many times do you hear it? Remember the whole Tukey Williams thing? Oh, but he wrote children's books behind bars.
Good God.
Remember the family that he slaughtered?
Yeah.
No, we don't consider that.
And when he said, what do you make is your political ideology more important to you than than people's rights and the rights of citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, no, I don't even consider my own opinion. And then she goes on to 100%, hormonally female.
Yeah.
And you realize, well, your whole thing, your political narrative drives you completely on this, because no sane person would put a male sexual predator in a female prison.
Right.
You can only get to that point because all you care about is your narrative. All you care about is your radical agenda. You don't care about the rights, because as soon as you say that, well, no, they're female, and that's why it's okay to be in there, as soon as you say it's okay for a male to be in a female prison, and as soon as you say that a sexual predator male is okay to be in a female prisoner, your political activism supersedes any of your thoughts of the rights of those individuals inside that prison.
Right.
And the fact that she can't see that.
They don't care about the victims. They're busy creating victims where they don't exist. You've got to make the
sexual predator a victim.
I'll say alleged transgender, because this is an opportunist. This is an opportunist. That's who this person is. He's an opportunist. He saw an opportunity to get access to victims, real victims. And she's too busy creating a victim in him, the predator.
Yep.
That's what the left does.
This is the mainstream left when you talk about the judicial system of what the left wishes to create.
Yep.
In this country.
Yep. That will be the justice system if we allow it.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Federal Reserve minutes, this from CNBC, indicate worries over a lack of progress on inflation. Participants observed that while inflation the inflation rate, why do they keep saying inflation? Do they do that on purpose?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that done on purpose?
Yeah, I think so.
To purposely mislead people?
You notice that it kind of went away for a while because they were being corrected. But the closer we get to the election, they're going back and doing inflation instead of inflation rate.
Right. The inflation rate has eased, but inflation continues to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's compounded inflation on the inflation that has happened over the past couple of years. But in recent months, there has been a lack of further progress towards a committee 2% objective. The summary stated the minutes showed that various participants mentioned a willingness to tighten policy further should risks to inflation materialize in a way that such an action became appropriate. The meeting followed a slew of readings that showed inflation was more stubborn than officials had expected to start 2024. You saw that, and we'll get to this coming up also. J.P. Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says the U.S. could see a hard landing. Stagflation will be worst outcome.
Yeah, it's painfully obvious here. I've been saying since the beginning that Jerome Powell's not concerned about, he's not serious about inflation, and that's how the Fed has acted. They have not been serious. So these latest notes from the minutes or minutes from the meeting show that, we didn't do enough. We're not at our target rate of 2%. Inflation is tougher than we thought. No, you just didn't take it seriously.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.